input. And so it did really slow down the checkout process. So we really, really appreciate your patience. And also with us getting all your tabs closed out. Almost all of them are closed out. Bill went diligently through like every single heads or tails and everything to make sure everything matched and we got it correct. So if things, and check on the mug. Can we talk about the mug?
Can you hand me the black one?
Your black one, Bill.
Let's talk about the mugs. Let's just talk about the mugs. Let's just talk about the Yeti mugs. So to answer all of your questions out there, people are going crazy on social media over these mugs because we're spotting them in the news feeds. So these were ordered as a commemorative item, so special commemorative item for the auction. But and so there was a limited number, but there's so many people that want them, and of course we want them in people's hands. So we will be figuring out a way to get. It's easy to get more. So I will do that, but we're going to figure out a way that we can actually have it manageable in taking orders and shipping them. And we will also need to do it as, we'll figure out the price to cover the price of them and the postage. And then it will be as a donation. So we're not selling an item, because when we're selling an item, then we get taxed and it's a whole nother nightmare for our accountants. So we got to work all that out first. So just stay tuned, because we do want them in everybody's hands, because they are just like so cool. So we want y'all to have one, and we'll just sell them at cost, and we'll figure all that out and get them out there. So,
and Angie, one last thing. If anybody has any questions about what's on their tab, you might have noticed that maybe we closed you out on Saturday, but then there was another charge. That was the heads or tails, or it was raise the paddle, or some other, one of the, our mug. It's one of the things that we didn't get time to add Saturday before you left. So if you have any questions at all, if you didn't get an item, if you didn't get a certificate with your item, or whatever, any questions at all, please contact me, Becky at battlefieldaddiction.com. You can find my phone number on the website, everywhere. Give me a call, send me an email, and we'll get it all sorted out. But thank you guys so much.
Awesome. And I see Danielle in the UK wants one. We will put one aside for you when we get them for when you're in the States. So I know you're coming in December. We will stick it aside for you. So they'll be here by then. They don't take long to order. We just need to figure out the logistics and get the word out. So thank you, everybody. The only other thing is Mom's Group. A reminder for Mom's Group tomorrow. Looking forward to it. The Mob, 11 a.m. tomorrow. So all you ladies are invited. Join us tomorrow, 11 a.m. for 1 hour. We just have our little coffee together and get to know each other more. Talk about the topic for the night before and whatnot. And if you don't have the Zoom link, you can reach out to me or Becky to get it. So please join us. Okay, so I'm here in Vegas, and so is Mr. Kyle Munkers. So let me switch the cameras here. So let me introduce you all to Mr. Kyle Munkers. He is a manager here at Rebuild Recovery, and he also brings us our comedy each week, and he is actually here live with us in Vegas. So you're in for a treat. So take it away, Kyle.
Okay. I think I can say that I can rightfully be the mouthpiece for everybody involved in a part of Battlefield. The appreciation that we have for all the moms and everybody that did all the work and make all this stuff happen and make all the events happen. So thank you. And I do want to remind you that you guys worked really hard to get this auction going, and watching in the background, it all happened. But while you guys were, so I want to remind you also, while you were really busy working really hard getting the auction going, I was out here in Las Vegas working really hard, and it's always sunny and 80-degree weather. And I just want to remind you how hard it is to watch clients do chores. Watch Nick go around the whole house with the blower. It's exhausting. It's exhausting work. But no, this Battlefield's amazing, and to see the things that's able to get pulled off and all the work that's done is just, it's a blessing to be a part of. And I'm thankful that my mom pulled my drug addict ass out of that trailer, bro. It itches so bad. That's one thing about Vegas is the mosquitoes. It's so bad.
Dude, they're rough, dude.
I can't stop itching it. Yeah. Okay. On to the jokes.
Kyle's corny comedy corner.
Yeah. Earlier today, the neighbor came and he was yelling at me, saying that he tripped in our driveway. And I said, no, that's your own asphalt. Bundle, we all know Bundle. Bundle says that for Halloween, he's going to dress up like a testicle. He's nuts.
I thought it was already dressed up.
Yeah. Pretty close. This one was a request. This joke's a request. Being an identical twin, I won't be surprised if later on I eventually with kids I have now, that I find myself I'm probably going to have identical twin girls at some point. And when I do, I feel like I'm gonna name one Kate, after our client Kate, who's wonderful, and her identical twin sister, Duplicate. Where's Kate? Well, my brother's name is Duplicile. Today I was reading the world's worst thesaurus. It was awful. Not only that, it was awful. Today, Jolie told me to put ketchup on the shopping list, but she's so dumb because now I can't see it. One time my son asked me, he said, Dad, are we pyromaniacs? I said, yes, we are, son. Sometimes Bailey and I will sit laughing about how competitive we are, but I laugh more.
There you go.
There was this time I went to the zoo and they only had one animal there, was a dog. It was a Shih Tzu. Another word for a short mother? Minimum. Fun fact. You guys know who the most popular guy on a nude beach is? It's the guy that can hold 2 coffees and 6 donuts. He's got a long nose. All right. I just heard some recent news from my mom. She told me that at one point my grandpa had a very severe addiction to Viagra. My grandma took it the hardest.
I think you've done that one every week.
It's a good one.
Thank you, Kyle. All right. Art's back in the chair, so let's get started. We're good on sound, right, Danielle? All right. Perfect.
Please fill that up a little more.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any left. Man. So tonight we commiserate. I don't know if this will be for everyone, but there's this real thing. We don't discuss it very much about it happening, and we try to be above this, I guess, or I guess we don't mention it. Well, it's because we don't want to be a victim, or we don't want to talk like that. And part of our teaching here is to gain power, and we're constantly talking about ways to gain power, but very rarely do we talk about this other side of things and relationships and what we're doing here. And you got parents, and it's kind of like for you parents, and for us, and there's kind of like a life. And you guys that are here, maybe you'll understand the other side of this, but there's like a life, and in some form, you parents feel responsible for that life, not in some form, in a whole form. You feel responsible for this life, and or you're a manager and you feel responsible for the life of the people that you're managing, or you're me and I feel responsible for the life of people that are with me. And by feeling responsible for it, you get a sense that you are kind of going to be helping or aiding or causing the matter of improving this life. And so responsibility means not my fault, or it doesn't mean anything like that, but it means I have a sense of responsibility for this person's life. They turn to me for stuff. They depend on me for things. We've been through a lot together, and then there's this person that's in the life. And the person that's in the life is usually in some portion of a pattern of their life. So there's the responsible person that's trying to aid and trying to help. And then there's a person that's in it. If you've looked at your life, and maybe you're a person that's in the life, or maybe you're a person that's recently got out of the life. But in your life, if you look, there'd been this person there that's trying to aid, and then there's been you, and you've been in these patterns. And at any time you're in one corner of the pattern, maybe you're in treatment, you're on the streets, you're doing okay for a minute, you're starting over again, you're in jail, and you're in this pattern that you've been in for years. And then there's somebody that's trying to help, and that person feels really responsible. And so as this person that's trying to help, there is a power struggle that's going on. And there's a power struggle between the person that's being helped and the person that's, because, nobody wants to be, everyone wants help, but they want it their way. So if you're in this life and you've been helped before, you've probably said, yes, I want help, but please just send me the money and I'll figure it out. I just want that kind of help, or I just want you to listen to me because I think that I know how I need to be helped. And you don't know how I need to be helped. I know how I need to be helped. So just please send me the money. And what starts to show up is this thing that we don't talk about very much, with two things, but is domination. So there's this, and not by the people that are doing the behavior, not by the people that are stuck in the pattern. It's the people that are trying to help. And there's this feeling of domination. So we feel dominated by the responsibility of the relationship. A total domination, because I try and I try and I try, and this person stays in these patterns and there's nothing I can do, and they keep being in these patterns, and they call me from one aspect of the pattern and say, now I need this, but I want help again, but I want it my way, and I want to do what I say, and I want your money, and there becomes this thing, and in all relationships there's this. And this week has been a theme. So when people are calling me, they're calling me from a place of domination. When family members are calling me and they want to talk about their kid, they want to talk about how it dominates them. They want to talk about how it controls them. They want to talk about how it controls their thoughts. They want to talk about how it controls their day. They want to talk about how much they think about their loved one. They want to talk about why won't their loved one just change? They want to talk about all of it and how it's dominating them, and they're in pain and they're dominated. And this will be happening to you too, as you go into life and you get in a relationship and you're sober and everything's fine. You will get in power struggles and you will feel dominated. You want to be the one to help, or you want to be able to like talk things out, but you can't talk things out because there's this thing that's happening. This person, whether they know it or not, is actually very difficult. And so we come across, and that's everyone, we come across difficult people. We try to relationship with them. We try to make it better. We try to do something to improve it, and we get dominated. And we live in this domination. Now, the way that you know if you're dominated by a relationship or not is if you're debating whether to quit the relationship or not. If you're sitting there and you're a person who's trying to help someone, and you went in and you said, here, try this, and then they fired back at you and they did something, in your head, whether you'll know if you're being dominated, because you'll say, I'm going to be done with this person. I want to be done. I'm out. I'm going to cut them off. I'm not going to help them anymore. And the way you know you're being dominated in a normal relationship, one that you're not helping, is that you've tried to communicate in some way. There's a battle or a scrum, and you leave, and you, the person leaving, feel like That's now consuming you. So now this conversation, this thing that you had is consuming you. But this person that you talk to is unaffected. And that's the feeling of domination. This person's moving on with their day. They don't care even about how I feel. And I'm dominated by the relationship. I am kind of paralyzed. I need it to be different. I need to work on it. They don't want to work on it. So this is the experience of being dominated. And maybe in this room, it's like kind of dead. People don't know what it's like, but all you parents are going to know exactly what it feels like to face this domination and to feel utterly dominated by a person who you care for and feel responsible for. But then when you have a suggestion or you try to make it better for them in any way, they do what's known as gaslighting. So we don't really talk about domination, and we don't talk about gaslighting here very much, and probably you've never heard me mention it, but it is a real thing. And it's a form of psychological manipulation in which the person that's gaslighting you makes you feel like you're crazy when all the evidence around you suggests otherwise. When you're being called, when you have an 800 credit score, never missed a day at work for 35 years, and you're called a liar. That's gaslighting. Called a liar by a person with a 200 credit score that just stole from Safeway. And no matter what, it still affects you. So no matter what, you still start to consider over time whether you're crazy or not. So there's this thing that's happening in I'm sure all of you have going through it. It's going through it here, and we face it here. We face this type of stuff when dealing with drug addicts. We face it when we're dealing with the real difficult ones. And there's some stuff I've been noticing lately about how this goes down. And I've said recently, that's not the hard part of this stuff is not living with drug addicts. The hard part is not, it's not the noise. It's not the commotion. It's not somebody getting high. It's not any of that stuff. People could get high. It wouldn't affect you. People could get whatever and it wouldn't affect you. But it's when you're doing this kind of work and when you're a parent of an addict and when you're doing this stuff, you go nowhere in the world where you question whether you're a good person or not. For instance, if I worked at Boeing and I went to Boeing every day, I wouldn't come home at the end of the day wondering if I was a good person or not. I would just do my job, and no one would tell me I'm a bad person, and no one would call me a liar, and no one would say I was a piece of shit, and no one would say anything like that. But when you do this job, and you would think that it's a good person kind of job to have, and you would think that a good person would do this job. But what you're faced with is people always telling you're a bad person. So it's very suspicious. You're being told you're a liar and a cheat and a thief, a liar and a cheat and a thief. And then you begin to question yourself. And you're like, am I a liar and a cheat and a thief? Am I a bad person? And so just throw it out there to let you know if you're the gaslighter or you're the person that's being gaslit, just to let you know. The person that's being, if you've never questioned your own sanity, then you're the gaslighter. If you don't question yourself, then you're the person doing it. You see? And you need to know that. You need to know if you just run around all day thinking that your behavior is perfect, then you're probably gaslighting a lot of people. You're probably really, but when you're actually a person that's able to question your own behavior, when you're a person that looks at yourself, we are very affected by the sickest. And I'm telling, when people are at their sickest, not saying the sickest people, I'm saying when people are at their sickest is when they make you feel the worst about yourself. So that's when you know that you're dealing with somebody that's very sick. Because people that are very sick, they make you feel the worst about yourself, and they make you consider your own sanity, and they make you frustrated and angry. And guess what? All the while you're frustrated and angry and questioning your sanity, they're moving on with their day. They're completely fine and happy in these times. When you're miserable and you're feeling just totally questioning yourself, and they're just happy and moving on with your day, and you're sitting there going, what the hell? And you want to talk. You want to come back and go, hey, can we talk this out, or can we do something? And now they don't have time to talk. Not now, not a good time to talk. Not something, So I wanted to commiserate with the folks that are going through this and tell you that although I don't talk about it very much, I know what you're going through, and I know that we're going through it too. We see it all the time. And the sickest people that are out on the streets, and we put out of the program, or we have to do something now. They tell us how terrible we are. We're simultaneously smoking fentanyl and stealing and robbing people, and telling us that we're terrible people. And you know what? I'm all ears and start believing it. And you go through it just as a human. When somebody's telling you something, it's hard to disregard. It is very tough to disregard. So it's just an experience that this provides for. But the good news is that the periods of time where we feel domination are also the periods of time where we can grow. So domination leads to growth. If we were never dominated by our relationships, we would never have to look at ourselves. We would never have to question our own stats and strategies. We'd never have to question our approaches. See, people that aren't dominated by relationships and unaffected by relationships will never change. They're always a constant, same person, and they dominate others and they don't even know they're doing it. They're not doing it purposely. And most of the time when we're dominated by people that are gaslighting, the person that's gaslighting also has a very poor life right now. Mm-hmm. The circumstances suck. They need people. They're dependent on others. They can't provide for themselves, but they're then telling us that we're crazy and we're pieces of shit. And this is just what's going on. It's just what we're all dealing with. So as parents question their sanity when their kid who just left their house and has been up for 4 days on meth and is in the bedroom with dishes all around them and then tells their parents that they're crazy and they're liars, just know it's tough, guys. It's tough if you've ever been the gaslighter, if you've ever been the gaslit. It's a tough place to be. And that's what's stopping our progress in our relationships. This kind of delusional thing. You know, in the relationships that you're having difficulty with, you're normally dealing with a person whose life isn't very good and they're delusional about that. And we're not just getting dominated by a person, we're getting dominated by defense mechanisms. We're getting dominated by all kinds of different tactics and all kinds of different silent treatments. We're getting dominated by the fact that people do fentanyl right now. Fentanyl is a very good way to dominate. If I do fentanyl, I can use fentanyl to dominate all you. I can get you to care about me enough that then I can threaten you that I'll go do fentanyl and overdose to ruin your day. I'll hold you hostage and say, I'm going to go do fentanyl and overdose, and you need to suffer unless I get my way. So I'm going to get my way, or I'm going to go hurt myself. There's a new tactic. There's a tactic that people use. And us sane people that are sitting home watching Seinfeld, having someone tell us that they're going to go out and kill themselves on fentanyl and go get high and ruin their life, get very scared. And we get very upset and we get very jumpy. And then we actually have to act on that. And so, this drug use is a form of domination that we have over our families. And to be able to be out there using drugs and hold your family hostage, knowing that they're suffering, knowing that they're worrying, knowing all this stuff, is some form of psychopathy, some form of sociopath, or it really is. It's a form of I'm going to be out here doing drugs. I know you're at home being punished. I know that you're miserable. I know you can't sleep, but I don't care because it's just about me. And I'm unaffected. And then if you call me and tell me not to use drugs, I'm going to tell you what a piece of shit you are. I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't have got a divorce from my father. I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't have done something when I was 8. See, so to get real with each other, let's get real, because we all know when we're gaslighting somebody. We all know when somebody's not a liar and we're calling them a liar. We all know when somebody's a good person and we're telling them they're a piece of shit. I think gaslighting started at the youngest age, just a kid that's 5 years old yelling at his mother, telling her she's a bad mom because you can't have the candy bar. Just you're a piece of shit mom because you can't have a candy bar. Just think how nasty that is, and it happens. My little nephew was 8 and he was at the QFC with my sister and he asked for some candy or whatever. And And my sister said, not tonight or whatever. We can't buy that right now. And he goes, why? Because you need all the money for beer. As a years old little gaslighter, But that's what's going on. And normal people, by the way, listen, I'm a person. I've sent my kid to like a private school. I've got an 800 credit score. I've told the truth my entire life. Like I'm well known in the community, and all of a sudden I'm being told I'm a piece of shit. It's very discerning. It's very concerning. It's very like, what the hell's going on here? And you guys, everyone needs to know that these tactics are being used, and we don't talk about it enough. But there is this utter domination that we're all facing. We're trying to get somebody's life better. We know they want it better. We know that they've asked for it to be better, but you're just trying so hard, and you're met with such, venom sometimes, and you're met with such brutality, and you're a normal person, and this is tough. And this gaslighting's tough, but just the utter feeling of what it's like, and to know that I'm feeling dominated because it's a person that I love, and I want to be done, and half of me wants to be done forever with them and never speak to them again, and half of me wants to help them. And now I have to sit in this kind of place where I don't know what the hell to do. And then I don't know if helping them is really helping them. And I don't know if what I'm going to do is going to help them. And I just wanted everyone to kind of understand the position that parents are in. This position of, they want to help you. They want to do everything for you. They want to buy you the car. They want to do everything. But does it help you? Does it make it better for your life? Will it turn you into a better person if they do that? And so we face it, and I wanted to commiserate with the parents and let you know that me and Angie aren't immune to it. That is the wear and tear. That the ups and downs of being told I'm a good person and a bad person on a daily basis. 1 minute, everyone's saying, you're so good, Art, and wow, man, we love you, and you care about people so much. And then just the same day, someone tells me I'm a money-grubbing piece of shit. The same day. And I'm like, whoa, I've changed. Changed today. 6 hours. 6 hours. Oh man, we love how much you care about us, and that's 8 a.m. and then 9 p.m. Oh my God, all he does is go play poker and gamble and take our money. Jesus, it's the same day. I'm the same person, and all the while I was just like watching the football game. Man, I've changed. And imagine parents that have been going on for 40 years. No one's ever told them they're a bad person their whole life. Now their own kid is now telling them what a piece of shit they are. Me and Angie faced it this weekend. We face it just like you guys face it. We face it here. We face it with people that are on the streets that we may or may not even have sent to the streets, that just couldn't be held in a house. They just had to be released, because they couldn't stop doing drugs in a house. And then we hear how bad we are. And that's the wear and tear. So it's not the noise. It's not the commotion. It's not anything else. It's the leather skin that you have to develop, and the hardened skin that you have to develop when you're a good person trying to do good things. And you're trying to help people improve the quality of their life, and they're fighting you every step of the way. And you put yourself out there and you do something and you realize, wow, all I see, I remember it's like suggesting to an 8-year-old to take a shower. Hey, you should take a shower. And they just go off and tell you I'm not going to shower. You're a bad person. It's like, that's what it's like. It's like telling people that they should take a shower and then being told that you're a piece of shit for it. And by the way, that person paid me to do it. All right, I want you to hold me accountable and make me take a shower every day. I'm going to give you some money. Okay, cool. Take a shower. Fuck you.
You money hungry?
Yeah. Great. So I want to just open it up tonight, and if you're feeling dominated and you understand what I'm talking about, if you felt that, the ups and downs of domination, and when I'm on top and I feel like a great parent, and when I'm down low and I feel like an evil person, and just questioning ourselves constantly. And like I said, I want to remind you, if you're not considering your own sanity, you're probably gaslighting people. You're probably the one doing it. So if you're in one of these types of relationships while never questioning yourself and turning on TV after you've caused a huge commotion and, then just flip the TV on and go, I'm at peace now. What I've noticed about the gaslighters is they're at peace when everyone's upset. And when everyone's upset, they're really, they're at their best. And when everyone's calm, they're restless and irritable and discontent. So when it calms down and everyone's calm, the person that's going to start gaslighting is very, very unhappy. And they want to cause a bunch of commotion because it eases them. And then it eases them and they go on, turn the music up and play the music. And everyone else sits there like, what the hell just happened? That's how it is. That's how it is. So we go through it too. We're not a victim to it. It's just the deal. It's just the deal. That's the work. If no one was gaslighting us, if no one was behaving poorly and not wanting help, this would be an awesome, easy job. Amen.
All right, the hands are going up. This is great. This is going to be a good night. Thanks, Amanda, for starting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just would like to better understand, why does the commotion ease?
Because that gets their pain out of their body and puts them at ease. They're in pain, the headspace, the thoughts, the everything, they're in this pain. And then when it releases and they dump it on everyone else, it eases them. It's a pain relief. Yeah. When they see everyone sitting happy and watching a game or a movie, they are getting angrier and angrier because of the discontent inside their body.
And so what is a wise response?
Well, that's the work, and what, I don't know if it's the response that so much matters right there, but it's the after time. It's understanding these kind of talks, Amanda, so that when you're questioning your own sanity, don't. Tomorrow have the strength to understand what's going on. You've just been gaslit. That's what just happened here. It's a human being in pain. He dumped the pain on me. I gotta bring my wits about me, and I've got to understand what's going on here, and I can't take it so seriously. Because you got to look around at the evidence. And you start looking at the evidence of whether you're a good person or not. And you go, well, wait, I got my other kids here. I can call them and ask them. It's like you really need teammates in those times because you feel so alone. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily think that there's some response to this yet. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm saying that this is where the growth happens, though, in the non radioactive responses. When we can keep our response to a minimum and not go crazy, that's the work. When I'm being that, everything in my body wants to go choke slam someone, or everything in my body wants to go slam someone, but I gotta try to do the work right there.
Got it.
Try.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Thanks, Amanda. Hi, Mitra.
Hi there. So, Art, when you started, I literally thought that you were talking to me, because it's exactly how I've been feeling this week. And it's just kind of nice that, we are talking about that and recognizing that, because I just learned about gaslighting, and it's a real thing. And
Yeah.
I've been feeling it the last few weeks big time, especially when my customers are asking me if I'm tired, because I come to work every day looking like I've been, going rounds in a UFC ring. So anyway, just wanted to thank you for talking about this tonight, because it's something that we do need to recognize and sit in and when it's happening, and then move forward and just remember that there is another day coming and hopefully it'll be better.
You know, I never took it for the first 10 years. I never took any of this. I didn't even believe in gaslighting. Okay. So I knew what it was years ago, but I discounted it. And I never took it for 10 years because this was my theory prior to the last couple of years. My theory to the last couple of years was that when anybody gave me criticism, I would take a look. And my theory was that if I took enough criticism and I looked at it enough, I could find the point of view that they were looking at me from, that they could see, that I could then kind of see what they saw in me. So I would use the stuff that they were saying to kind of work on the things that maybe their point of view had some validity, and I could take a look. And there was a lot of low-hanging fruit over the years. So there was things that were very true about me that could come off in a way that I was like, okay, I could see how a kid could think that, or I could see how someone could believe that, or whatever. So I'm going to take a look at that, right? So I think that there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that we got to look at first, you know. But over time, when you clear up a lot of stuff and you've worked on yourself and you've done all this work, the point of view diminishes to almost nothing, to pure craziness that you're hearing. And now I don't take a look anymore. So now I understand it clearly as that's just gaslighting, and okay, but I'm not trying to fix something inside me. So there was a time where, you know, maybe my sister Shelly should look and see that she's buying a lot of beer and he's 8, and that might not be the best look. You see what I mean? Things like that. So she could clear up something and go, well, I'm not going to bring my kid and go buy beer every day. That's kind of a mistake. It's like a hole in my game because he's going to use that. So there was a lot of stuff that I still have to look at as true, and I still have to clear up before I just got to a point and went, I'm being gaslit. It took a lot, you see? So, because a lot of people, what some people might say I'm being gaslit, somebody might call that truth, and somebody else might agree with them. And I'm not saying that's you, Mitra, but I'm just saying, there's a process here to it of discounting and discerning the material and organizing it and going, okay, which has validity, which doesn't? Could I use some of this valid stuff to grow, kind of thing?
Thanks, Mitra. Yeah, let's get Bev unmuted. Hey, Bev.
Hi. So I have a question.
Oh, oops, you got muted. Let's get you unmuted here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you were at one point an addict. Do you recall ever gaslighting people, and why? What was the reason? What caused you to do that, if you ever did it?
I did it. I never did it to my parents. I never did it to my father. I probably did it to my mother. I did it to my mother because she was weak, because I could convince her, because that was the way I got drugs. So if I could convince my mother that she does something wrong, or that she should feel sorry for me, then I could open up the pocketbook. And that's the extent that I did it. I never called my mom a bad parent or named or personally got attacking them. I did some forms of manipulation to get money and drugs. But with my parents, I didn't dare. I just think it was a different generation. In my generation, if you were smoking drugs, you were automatically the wrong one. You had no rightness once you put drugs in your system. Like, we would never call a jury and go, we're going to let you on the jury. We see that you're on drugs. But then people that are on drugs now have developed some type of civil rights movement where drug addicts believe that their opinion matters while they're high on fentanyl. And it doesn't. And an opinion on meth does not matter. If you're on meth, your opinion means shit. It don't matter. It don't mean nothing. You're clinically insane. We don't want to hear it. And that's what everyone in the world should be saying, but the drug addicts movement has stopped that nowadays. So that tends and lends to the gaslighting, that somebody could be on drugs, be on their parents' payroll, be actually causing havoc in life, have a massively difficult life, need people around them to take care of them, not be able to feed themselves, and then call other people pieces of shit. It's a new thing. It's not been that. It's a real new thing. Like, I live in my parents' basement, and then I tell them that they don't live right. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. And, back then our parents would have just told us, just shut the F up. We would not have had a voice. If you would have went to your dad and go, Dad, I'm living in your basement. I don't think you came home from work too much when I was a kid and you didn't take care of me. My dad would have said, get out of my basement, you little idiot. There wasn't and then there's no gaslighting. That my dad would have been impervious to the gaslighting. No matter what I said, he would go, you're more of an idiot. I'm still talking. So it's a real new thing. I think society's creating it. The victimhood is big, and it's an identity, and with victimhood comes gaslighting. Notice it's also a person that switches back and forth from being a victim to gaslighting. So they're a victim, and then they're gaslighting, and then they're a victim, and they're gaslighting, and they're a victim, and they're gaslighting. So it alternates.
Yeah, and I think what you said about, always being willing to look at yourself and look at that negative truth that someone is pointing out, I think then you're really, like you said, it's even harder to recover because you are searching for that negative truth that you're sure that it's there, but then you start questioning, like, do I have sanity even? Am I a good person even? You begin to really look too much at yourself.
That's right.
And over criticize yourself. And I think you could be willing to look at yourself, but then it can go too far too. So
we used to have a real clear glimpse of what was going on. So when we were in the big house, 35 kids at the big house, we had a pool table, ping pong table. There would be music blasting in the garage. It was it was when I first started out in treatment, and we were off the chain, and the kids would be talking to their parents on the phone and telling their parents how poor of a job they've done, and really, really saying some nasty things and pointing out, what pieces of shit their parents were. And then they would get off the phone and they would be down in the garage playing pool and dancing. And then right then the mother would call me crying and tell me, that their kid is just having such a rough time, and told them, and called and said all these mean things to him and everything. And they're like, how's he doing? Because now even out of that time when the parents are getting gaslit, they're still concerned for their kids. So there's like, is he going to go get high? How's he doing? And then I would go in the garage and go, oh, well, he's dancing right now playing pool. And we got a real clear idea of the amount of care that was going into this kind of thing, that it wasn't, that it was this ineffective person slamming their parents to try to manipulate, to try to get something, to try to get brought out of there, to try to get money, to try to get drugs, to try to get a break, whatever it is. And then going about their day like they didn't even do it. And we saw it over and over. And so you get a clear picture of what goes on. But again, the unavoidable times of sitting there and wondering about yourself.
So good. This is bringing up good conversation. Who's next? Someone else out there relating, questions, comments, all of it's welcome. If you're new out there tonight, we'd love to meet you. We'd love to say hi. You just, you can unmute yourself, or you can use the raise your hand feature, like I'm doing here. Or just mute yourself, get my attention. We'd love to say hi.
I told Ange, and I said, and this is kind of a discovery recently for me, is that, I kind of, you kind of my purpose in life, and you want one of your wants in life, or you set out and people go, what's your purpose or what's your thing? Well, for me, I, and this is personal. This is something that I think about all the time. And I don't ever talk about this, but I believe in a God for me and a maker for me. And I want my maker to know I was a good person. And I spend my time trying to show my maker that I'm a good person. And I talked to people that recently and told them, I said, in this job, what you do is you go, the ups and downs are simple. I feel like a good person and I'm up here. And then I feel like a bad person and I'm down here. And I feel like an okay person and a good person. And that's the ups and downs of this job. And that's the wear and tear. You go from feeling like a really good person that you helped somebody and they listened and they liked it and they thanked you and they told you were great and it was awesome and you're high as hell. You're like, oh man, I'm a good person. And then you go down here and somebody tells you that you're not so good. And in both instances, I think what you have to do is not kind of believe either one. The goal is kind of to just stay here, but it's a tough ride. It's a really tough ride. And I can imagine the ride that you've been on for years. You go and you save your kid and you get him out of a situation and you bail him out and they think, and for a minute, they tell you what a good person you are again. They say, thanks, Dad, or thanks, Mom. You're such a good mom and dad. You're always there for me, and you've made them happy for a second. And then the drugs start. It goes over again. You made them happy for a second because they got their way. And that's the other thing here. You're dealing with the people that are dominating us are only happy when they're getting their way. They're not big on the word no. And no leads to gaslighting. You say no. Now you get gaslit. You've learned over time as a parent not to say no. You've learned what it's like when you have to say no to this particular person. Well, you can say no to your other kid, but you can't say no to this. This one gets in too much pain when you say no. And when they get in pain, they got to dump it everywhere. And you're worried they'll go burn their own life down because you told them no. There's people in this house right now I can tell no to real easy. And there's people that I have a real tough time saying no to. And the people that I have a tough time saying no to, I worry about their safety. Is my no going to drive them to go burn their own life down and do drugs and overdose and kill themselves? Imagine being held hostage to that as a parent. And I know you are. Wait till you have kids. Wait till you get through your own addiction and you have your kids and you're reaping what you sow. Because you're raising yourself with a little badass gaslighter, And there you go. Yeah.
Do you think do you ever get worried about how people's reaction, if it makes you look incompetent, the people in this house, say I don't know, Bundle's hey, this happened, and
yes, yeah, that's another thing. Always feeling incompetent, feeling like you might look incompetent to the world. It's not feeling incompetent; it's that people are going to say you're incompetent. It's not the actuality of being incompetent. That's not the worry. Because you don't even know what that means. But it's oh man, they're going to say Art's not a competent treatment provider, or he's not competent to help people, or whatever they say. But, whatever's going on here, it's a lot deeper than you think it is. Your relationships with your mother and your father, Angie's relationship with her daughter, our relationship with her daughter, all the conversations that are going on here. It's so much deeper than you think it is, because you don't know that person, how much they think about the relationship and how much they're affected by the relationship. And you guys don't know how much Angie and I are affected by the relationship. And we don't know how much you are affected by the relationship. But I know we don't know enough. And I know that it's deeper than we think. And that that there's just this surface level that we act on, but underneath there is just some deep stuff. And you guys don't know that I don't just leave this house and go play poker on it and have my day and then not be deeply affected about what goes on here. I drag that with me. And then I come back here and I drag that. And we're here all day. And then sometimes I don't leave this house for a week and we're all dragging around all this. And it's deep. It's deep. And, we got to watch out these personal things that we say to people. To what? Why would you say something personal unless you were trying to improve the relationship? And if you haven't been in a relationship where you felt you want to be done with, but then you felt you were responsible for staying, then you don't know what it's like. But to be in a relationship that the person actually kind of needs you, or you need that relationship, and then you're debating inside whether to be totally done with that person because you're so angry and you're so dominated and you're so frustrated, and you go, fuck, I'm done with this piece of shit. And then you calm down and you go, God, I gotta reach this person. I need to like talk to them in a different way. And that's the good stuff. When you get over to this other side and you start thinking about, okay, I can't be done with this person. That's not realistic. I can't do this. I have to actually, and this is coming from experience this weekend. I know y'all might think I'm talking to you, but this is what me and Angie went through this weekend with her daughter. So we went through it. We've helped her, and we kind of got gaslit this weekend, and we got told that her life's none of our business and we should stay out of it. And, after all the money went down to her, and it was a brutal weekend for us because she was knitting and watching her show, and we were not sleeping because we were worried about her. We were worried about how we infected her. We were worried about what we could do to help her going forward. We were worried about the condition of her life and what it's going to look like and how she's going to move out when she says she's going to move out. She has no money. And we sat very concerned, and downstairs she sat very calm. Very, very calm and very unaffected. And then when we say we want to talk, it's not a good time for me. It's not a good time for me to talk. Well, you're sitting there doing nothing. I know, but it's not a good time. And so here we are. See, we get it too. And we understand what parents are going through, because now Aunt has to sit there and wonder if she should just cut her off and quit. Well, see, Angie knows. She knows about the way that this person's life is going to go when she does that. So does she want to sit and be superior and go, well, I'm just going to let her fail. And when she fails, she'll see, and I'll give her a big fat I told you so. But then there's a definite problem because her daughter then has failed. And now she's wasted more years of her life. And now it's a mess. And now we got to get her out of that mess. Like we got her out of the last mess. You see? So it's a real thing. And, parents are experiencing it. And, managers are experiencing it. And everyone's experiencing it. It's the form. The only thing we can do is stop the people from giving it. Listen, if your life's not going so well, say that. You need help. You need the people around you. You need to be open to their suggestions. It used to be the most beautiful thing about recovery. You could go somewhere and say, my life sucks and I don't know what to do.
Help me.
And people would just guide you, and all you had to do was just listen. That's it. You just had to go, my life sucks and I don't know what to do. But no one will say that. My life sucks, but I know what to do. I'm going to do this next, and I'm going to do this next, and I'm going to do this next, and I know what to do.
Kyle talked about that in group a year ago.
Yeah, it's called surrender. Ultimately, my life sucks, and I don't know what to do, and I need guidance from people that have done this before. What's wrong with that? It's so wise. It's such a brilliant thing to say. It's like, no, my life sucks, and I'm going to tell you how you should be helping me. I know what I need. You don't know. We're looking at it. We got a hand raised. I didn't see who it was.
Oh, did I miss it?
Raise your hand.
Who did I miss?
But the beautiful thing about recovery used to be surrender. life would get somebody to that, but we're taking that away from people. You know, the world's taking away surrender.
Okay, who else out there? Please take advantage. Oh, good. Hi, Allison. Let's get you unmuted. Hey there.
Hi. Great auction, you guys. For us, sorry, I don't want to get emotional, but sometimes you are the solution because for now, sometimes Kate will listen to you. And I think if I can get her to listen to someone who knows how to do something that I don't know how to do, then that's it. I mean, surrender to the fact that she's not going to listen to me. She's not going to listen to her dad. And she's going to do things her own way. So for us, I feel like Battlefield's been this, it is safe. I don't know if it's
Yeah, thank you. I get it.
a forever solution.
If we could,
Now
if
it's
I
safe.
could, we got to find someone to send
Yeah,
Angie's daughter.
I'm feeling you, Allison. I'm feeling you, and I was feeling you actually through the screen before you raised your hand for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I'm feeling you, and we're feeling the same exact thing, and I just can tell. And
I hope your daughter finds that.
We're dealing with similar stuff, Allison. You and I. And
yeah, I mean, you get to the point as a mom where
maybe we could swap. Maybe my daughter will see you.
I don't know, but as a mom, you love these kids so much. It's just like having your heart walk outside your body, and I'm not sure that anyone that isn't a mom knows what it feels like. You don't know. You don't know until you're in that space, and you just think of all the spaces where they could go wrong, and you do everything, like the whole first part of their life. I mean, when Kate was born, I swear to God, 2005, they had kids wearing helmets because if they bumped into walls, this was a thing. My friends had helmets on their kids because if they hit the wall, hit the wall and realize that maybe that's not a good idea. And my friends, we brought them all to 6 months old, 3 months old. They're swimming. They're not swimming. Why am I at swimming class? Because everyone's taking their kid to swimming class in helmets. I was the only mom without a helmet on the kid.
Holy shit.
Go out of your way to make sure they don't fall off the play thing. You make sure every corner has a protection on it. And then I don't know where it changes. At some point, you're just supposed to give them a driver's license and let them rip around town. Like, holy shit, what's going on?
I don't know, but
It's
I'm
scary.
going to buy some helmets for the pool outside.
Thanks, Allison.
I'll get you some pictures of these kids' helmets tomorrow at the pool.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Kate is a proficient swimmer. Thanks to me.
Hey, Bev.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one more thing. When you said surrender, I can hear even when Kendall was 13, 14, 15 years old, I would say, we want to help you. And I think that is interpreted sometimes as I want to control you. And so I think that's why there's such I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to make my own mistakes. You can't tell me what to do. Is I think it's more interpreted, not that I wanted to control her, but it became like every time I said help, she interpreted it as control. And so I think that's why some people don't surrender, is they don't want to be controlled by others, right? Yeah. That could be their perspective.
My father said it in the most beautiful way to me, because he knew that I needed to surrender, and he knew that I did not know the way out for my own life, that I would have been lost in the abyss forever, that I didn't know the way out when it came to sobriety. I didn't know the way out to home ownership. I didn't know the way out to better credit. I didn't know anything about anything. I was 37-year-old, 13-year-old that had been doing drugs for 24 years. And he goes, you're a terrible manager. He goes, you're a terrible manager. And I was like, you get kind of, you're terrible. And I go, he goes, so why don't you just fire the manager and I'll be the manager? He pointed at himself, and he goes, but you can still own the store. So you get to be the owner, you just don't get to be the manager. And I was like, yes, because I get to own the results.
Yeah.
I get to own the results. You can manage me and I'll own the results. And when he said that to me, I was like, bet. I don't like and I gave up the management side of my life until the day he died. For the first 7 months of my sobriety, where do you want me, Dad? Where should I be? What should I be doing? What's next? And I just gave it up. And that man led me to 7 months sobriety and my own business by the time that was, and I got to own the results. So just admitting that you're a terrible manager does not mean you don't get to own it.
You're still the owner.
You're still the owner. You're owning the store right now with just a shitty manager.
Yeah.
I mean, just actually separate yourself and put down the store's inventory. And then go, who's fucking managing this thing? And then fire that person and get yourself a new manager. And it's easy. You just ask. You just say, hey, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? Hey, I'm going to give up my current job and I'm going to go move in with a girl in a small town.
Ugh.
No, terrible management decision.
Bad idea.
But somebody will do it, And they took back the management side of their life. And at some point, you're going to have to take back the management side of your life. You will. Because no one will do it for you, because you'll be doing just as well as them, and no one's going to. That's ridiculous. But you got to wait for that.
You'll know when that.
You'll know when that is.
Yeah.
Your credit will say like 740. And you'll know.
The car will start.
Yeah, the car will start every time.
Yeah,
You'll fill the tank when you go to the gas station. You'll no longer get $20 worth. Okay. Are we ready to just close it up, or?
Any last people want to share? Or we can wrap it up. Now, heads up, next week is Halloween. So we're not going to have a solution group next week. So we can spend some fun here. Yay. Might do something fun.
So I want to talk about my process really quick before I close it up, because I do have a process in this, although I understand that it's going on and I've endured this for a while. There's a process here, and there will be a process with her daughter, and there's a process with all of it. And it's simply feeling and understand that right now I'm dominated by this relationship. I may be out of ideas. I don't have the right approach. When I do approach, it fails. It's not going too well. And I understand that and want to give you a distinction that that's called domination. That's the feeling of domination. And that feeling of domination comes with a lot of thought, at sleepless nights. Sometimes I think about the other person and how I can reach them and how I can talk to them. But prior to that, there's a point where I get dominated and I say, I'm done with that person. And that will last through my anger. What's happened to me over time is that now only lasts a second for me. I'm done only lasts a few seconds before I realize that I can't be done and I'm responsible and I must get back in there and do something. And as a parent, I would say that you need to shorten that time period of when you say you're done, because deep down inside you're never done. So it's kind of a ridiculous notion, because you're not going to be done, and they're definitely not going to be done with you, even if you're done, they're going to need you still, and they're not going to be done with you, and they're never going to let you go, and they're going to bother you until they're fixed, until it's straight, something. So I have shortened that time in my process, and I'll tell you the cure, the antidote for domination is strategy. As soon as I flip from feeling dominated and feeling victimized and poor me, they don't listen to me, and poor me, I have it tough, to, oh, I have a new strategy that I'm going to try next, and I'm going to work on myself in this fashion, and I'm going to use this to grow, and I'm going to try to communicate in a better way. As soon as I do that, the relief of the domination leaves, and this person now shows up like an opportunity for me. So it goes from complaint to opportunity. And when I'm in complaint mode and I'm dominated, it takes all my energy, and I'm tired and I'm beat down. And there's a way that I stay not tired, not beat down, because that moment when I stop the domination and the poor me and the victimhood, that moment I stop it, and the moment I say, what's next? What am I going to do next? My energy changes. My energy lightens, and now I'm fierce and I'm powerful, and I can feel it, and I'm not tired anymore. So it goes just like that for me now. There's the process. Domination, I'm done with that person and pissed off. I stop around for a minute. Can't be done. Back to acceptance. Okay, what's next? How are you going to help them? And it goes very quick. And then once I get back there, I try the new strategy, sometimes more domination, sometimes, and I'm in and out of this. And this is the strategy for Gaslit is simple. Just build your life, stay strong, understand how crazy it is, and your skin will get more leathery. And that leather skin is what helps people that gaslight. So the more leather skin you are, the more of a helpful person you are to a person who's gaslighting. So that person who's that sick, who's trying to make you feel bad, when you can laugh it off and it doesn't work on you, you can now be qualified to help the person. But if the person does this and it affects you deeply, you're no longer qualified to help them. You can't, because you will not be able to keep your wits about you. So it's a simple, all of it is a process of growth. Domination leads to growth. You should understand when you feel dominated in a relationship, and you should understand that the next portion of that is strategic. And if I can be strategic, I am growing as a person. And if I'm looking at myself in this strategy and considering me and considering what they did say and considering how I use that, there's deep growth there for you. So that's the process that I've been using for years to get through it. But I just wanted to first commiserate with you all and say, I get how difficult it is. But we had a difficult night, which led to the whole purpose of the difficult night was we never got the strategy. So when we finally get the strategy, that ends, and you can realize that you're not going to be done, and you're going to make a difference, and you're just going to have to try new things, and you're going to have to work a little harder to communicate, work a little harder to talk to them. And I would also say that in this process, when we decide the strategy is usually going to come with wise questions. There's going to be a questioning period where you kind of find out what's blocking you and this other person. So
are you asking yourself questions?
No, you're asking the person. When you calm down and you go, there's a strategy, that strategy that you reapproach with is going to be an inquiry approach. Yeah. You're going to come back with let me ask you about this, and let me talk to you about this, and let me see what you're thinking when you say that, and what was going on when you say that. It's going to look like that. So we can get more into that in a couple of weeks. But again, thank you all for tuning in. Glad to be back. See you in a couple of weeks.
It's a whole other solution.
All right. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night.
Great conversation.